Welcome into the Bluegrass Burnouts YouTube channel. My name is Zach, and my partner in crime here is Cody. This is a channel that we have been running for a few years now, but we are going to be focusing on it a lot more, mainly just because of a lot more job stability, a lot more life stability between the two of us. Definitely want to get this going, and Cody is the man behind all of the cool graphics you see, behind everything that we have here. I'm just a pretty face that talks, unfortunately. So I'm going to let my technical man go over all of our schedules and just basically what we want to do here this season.
Yeah, man, go ahead and get it started. We're, like you said, trying to start it up, get everything looking a little bit more professional here. The way we're looking at doing this, we're going to do 5 videos a week. This is kind of how we're going to have it set up. We're going to have the races, do on Sunday, whatever that is. We'll do a race review. We'll put that out the day after we're able to record it, so it'll probably be Monday, Tuesday at the latest. We're going to have a power rankings video every week, and that'll come out on Tuesday. We'll have a paint schemes video every week going over the best paint schemes, the best things on track. That'll come out on Wednesday. If there's any news that comes out in the middle of the week, we'll have that for Thursday. And then we'll have a weekend preview going into the next week, ready to go on Friday. And obviously, if there are any changes, sometimes stuff just happens. But that's kind of what we're going to try and go off, make that a little more stable, and just try and make this a little bit more official. Life happens, people get busy. Zach over here, he's got jobs. I was in college. I was double majoring at one point. Schedules can be hell. But, having everything here, we're kind of settled down a little bit. I'm only doing one major now. We're ready to go. We're going to try and get this a little more stable. So that's what you have to look forward to. And introducing ourselves, if you haven't watched before, this is Zach. You want to do your own introduction? I'll go ahead and do mine.
Yeah, go ahead and do yours, Cody.
My name is Cody. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I am currently a student at Coastal Carolina University. And if you could not tell, when it comes to NASCAR, I am a huge Alex Bowman fan. This is my boy. I've been watching pretty much my entire life. My dad is a huge Earnhardt Jr. fan. Got me going ever since. I think I went to my first official race. I think it was 2012 at Kentucky Speedway, and I've just been hooked ever since, man. This is my go-to.
Yeah. So if, like Cody said, doing little intros here. So my name is Zach, and I am also from Louisville, Kentucky. Cody and I met each other when, gosh, I don't even know how old I was now. Maybe 22. You were probably, like 18, something like that?
Probably. I was still in high school, probably like 16,
Okay.
17 around that point.
Maybe I was younger. Maybe I was like 20. I don't even
feel
remember
old.
that whole timeline.
I
I know,
don't
dude. I
even
feel
want
old.
to talk about it, man. I can't imagine how you feel.
Yeah, being 25 now, it's weird. My brain's fully developed. Nothing really changes, but I'm just better than you because of it, Cody. But
You
from
are,
Louisville,
for
Kentucky,
sure.
yeah, from Louisville, Kentucky, NASCAR-wise, William Byron fan, was a Jeff Gordon fan growing up, so just kind of switched over to William Byron as the years have gone on. Not going to say where I currently reside, mainly just because my job is not secretive, but definitely working sports. So until my boss finds this, we're just going to not say where I work for now.
There we go.
But,
We'll leave it at that.
But yeah, we'll leave it at that. NASCAR-wise, first race was when I was 17 at Kentucky Speedway with a buddy who was not a big NASCAR fan. Probably still isn't. That's probably the only race he'll ever go to. So we left early, actually. Fun fact for you, Cody. We left early.
Oh, that's a
and it
sin.
sucked. Yeah, I was
It's
not
a
happy.
cardinal sin.
Yeah, I was not happy. Was not happy at all. He was very worried about people drinking and driving, and he drove. I had the tickets, but he drove. So we left early for that one. But yeah, love NASCAR. It has been my go-to since I was a kid, and I am very, very ready to have this going and make sure that we stay consistent on this, keeping each other accountable, so that we can, have a lot of fun with this and, just get our opinions out there on everything.
Hell yeah, man. We're ready to go. Well, with that is the introduction. Welcome to Bluegrass Burnouts. All right. Season is underway. We had the big race, the Daytona 500, just earlier today, and man, there's a lot to talk about, but just starting it out, what a race. This is one of the best Daytona 500s we have seen in quite some time. Not that the races in years prior have been bad, but there's just something that just feels different with this season. Like, one of the biggest complaints that I have with NASCAR, and, I'm sure everyone already knows, Fox is not the greatest. Whether that comes down to commentating, whether that comes down to going to commercial with 10 laps to go, whatever that comes down to, it has its issues. But this year, going into it, you have the Hell Yeah campaign. You have NASCAR posting all these great videos, all these hype videos, and it worked. I was so excited going into this race. I have been pumped up, even for the Clash. Like, I am just been so ready to get this season underway, and NASCAR delivered. The pre-race show even
was amazing this year.
Blast, an absolute blast. All of the interviews they did with all the drivers, everything was magnificent. And like, there's one thing that Fox has always been able to do, and it is video packages. And they shined today on this pre-race. The Denny Hamlin video, first off, sending prayers to him and, the whole family. I know they're still probably getting over all that and everything that has happened. It's all horrible stuff, but hoping he's doing well and hoping everything continues to go up for them. But that video package that they did, like, I cried. Like, a tear was shed during that video. Like, you just really felt the emotion. And even just video package, just talking to William Byron, like, really showing how big of a deal that this race is. Like, if you're an outside fan, a person who's never watched NASCAR before, you hear talk about the Daytona 500, people tell you how important it is, but you don't really understand. And watching this broadcast makes you understand that William Byron being able to win this race 2 years in a row was huge. Was absolutely massive. And the fact that he had a chance to go for 3, they were hyping that up big time, made everything feel like a huge deal. Fox knocked it out of the park with the pre-race and even during the race. They've got the new graphics this year. They got rid of the cartoon stuff.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. I was never a fan. The first year, I was like, it's a little funny. Like, it looks goofy. And they kept doing it.
They played into like the superhero hype, like the comic book superhero hype. And it worked for a season. It worked for a season, but now it ran its course. New graphics look great, and they really stepped it up this year. They really did. I think that it's not that Fox doesn't care about NASCAR, unlike some other, media platforms that we've had in the past, but they do care. They've known they needed to step their game up. And them having the 500 was the time to show, hey, we are going to step our game up this year. And there were a lot of storylines. What happened with Denny Hamlin made a great storyline. It made a great video package. Talking about William Byron and him possibly having a three-peat, which I don't believe that's ever been done before.
It is not.
In the 500.
That was why it was such a big deal, man.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it later. I mean, he had a shot at the end.
Yeah, he did.
He had a shot, and that's all he needed was a shot. Like, if the past 2 years have proven anything. And he, it is what it is, but Fox stepped up their game this year, and I'm very happy with it. Very happy with the race. But getting back into the actual racing part of it, Cody, it was just a lot cleaner of a race. We had some incidents that we'll talk about, but it was a lot cleaner of a race. We'll talk about, the second stage with, people saving and everything like that. But especially at the end, too, one thing that has really left a lot of sour tastes in people's mouths is the past few years, especially in the 500, it has been a wreck fest at the end of the race. It has been a wreck fest. We've gotten multiple overtimes. We've gotten multiple, years where, and this is just on any super speedway, it's not just the 500, where we only have 12 real cars that can win it in the end. And this year it was a lot cleaner. We did have the one right at the end, that happened with everybody with Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, but it was a lot cleaner. Like, I've just been hammering, and I feel like A lot more traditionalists really like that. If you're in the big Wreckfest crowd, you probably didn't like this race that much. But it's like most things, the Wreckfest folks are a very, very small but very vocal majority of fans. And most fans really appreciated this race this year just because Fox stepped their game up. It was a cleaner race, and we'll get into some more points about why it was just a better race this year.
Absolutely. This race, just to kind of hammer home your point, the Wreckfest crowd, here's another thing that I want to preface by saying this. The Wreckfest is not always a bad thing. Wreckfests
No, not at all.
Wreckfests are absolutely entertaining. But you can't have that every week, and especially when you have an opportunity to showcase your product to an entirely new fan base because you've been hyping this up so much. You don't want to just have something that people can laugh at and go, oh my God, these people are professionals? Like, that's a part of that. Like, you're going out here and showing the technicality of what it takes to be a driver. And I am such a fan of how this race ended. And obviously, we'll get into this. But the green flag pit stops, once you hit 20 to go and you have the entire field slowly coming off of going to pit road, doing your green flag pit stops, and then having to slowly come together and you're just entirely shuffled up, like the field is completely changed from what it looked like 10 minutes ago, 10 laps ago. It's just, it was so, so nice. And it was a great race. It really, I can't say it enough. I can't argue it enough. This was a great race. Just kind of going into, we'll get more into actually going through a timeline of the race. Stage 1, we get underway. We've got all the stuff going on. And it just kind of felt great right out of the way. Or right out of the gate here. We got to green. And then I feel it was the BJ McLeod wreck. That was just, five? I think it was less than 10 laps in.
It was lap 6, I believe. Lap 6.
And man, I really do feel bad for BJ here. But this one was kind of interesting because it's not like any wrecks that we ever see before.
No, the car just died.
Literally the car, and I think he did an interview after the wreck, and I believe he did say this. The car just snapped. The car broke. In its entirety, this thing was just gone.
Yeah, the boys in the booth originally were saying, well, we don't think that they originally was, his right front is down, and then it was that tire might not have been attached all the way.
Yeah.
And then it was just, did his toe link snap? I mean, all of a sudden you see him, he's going, he's near the back, but he's doing all right, and then just instantly
in a second.
Yeah.
And this is what immediately drew my eyes, is usually when you have a tire go down, it's a slow process. You'll see some smoke, and then you'll have a spin. This one, it just cuts, and he's around.
Yeah.
It just happens. And, obviously he gets down to the apron, you see the wheel wobbling a little bit, and that really shows you that something went wrong. But just the speed at which that accident happened. And then you've got William Byron getting caught up in it. You've got Justin Allgaier getting caught up in it. These are big names. And fortunately, no one was, truly taken out of the race apart from BJ, obviously. But definitely an interesting way to get the race started. But I kind of just feel bad for BJ. And a big part of that as well is BJ got in because Alfredo got DQ'd from the duel. So kind of having that, it kind of just made it feel like that spot just didn't end up getting used, which kind of sucks for how the duel goes. But also at the end of the day, what else can you do? What else can you really do about it? It's great for BJ. He got to actually be in the race. You get the money from just being in the race. You get the publicity. It's great for him. But, at the end of the day, what can you do? What can you do? You move on, and we get back racing, and this
honestly, Go ahead.
This was a big thing. I remember this happened. We had a bunch of cars after this pit stop that pitted after pit road had closed. So the end of the tail line was 20 cars.
Yeah, it was a good chunk of the field was just
it caught me off guard.
Single file.
And especially because obviously I'm a Bowman fan, I'm watching Alex, and I just look up, and he's like at the tail end of this massive line. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Like it just it made no sense, at least to me. And there could be a reason. Obviously, fuel became a big part of this first stage. Was the main storyline for this stage. So maybe you're just pitting late. You take the drop in track position, but you get a longer fuel window. So I'm curious to see if that. I don't know if anyone will ever actually talk about this, but if that was the reason for that, genius. It worked out. When you get to the end of the stage, you had a bunch of guys have to pit, and then a couple other people. I think it was a group of 10 that didn't end up having to pit, got out of the stage, and Bowman was one of them. And that's kind of what made me think that. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see if anybody talks about that. But going into that, the end of this first stage, super strategic. You have all these people trying to get in, trying to get out, get off of pit road, get onto pit road. And I feel like in the past, we've seen so many times where you'll have this massive group get onto pit road. We didn't have that all race.
No,
I think
we did not. Not at all.
The largest group that got onto pit road was 10 cars, and that was in stage 3. That was at like the end of the race. So like having that, especially for the first stage, just made it super interesting because sometimes you're like, oh, end of stage 1, nothing happens, like it doesn't really matter. But obviously with going back to the chase this year, points mean more. So
oh yeah,
I was expecting a lot more people to try and stay out and try and get those points. It didn't exactly happen that way, but it still gives you something to talk about. And what I believe it was Zane Smith that won stage 1, which was good for him, man. Like going out and having a run.
Yeah, we'll talk about this a little bit more. I know I keep saying that, but we're just trying to stay on topic here. Zane Smith, as a driver, had a very rough first year.
Absolutely.
2 years ago, and now that he's in year 3, I mean, he's consistently up there in super speedway races, and he has some good finishes, a couple top 10s, a couple top 5s. But if I had to give you like of a biggest surprise, like it'd be Zane Smith, how consistent he was today with everything.
Yeah,
especially considering he is in, I guess you would call, inferior equipment compared to, like a Bowman or a Logano or a Blaney. So we will see, though. But going into stage 2, like what we talked about before getting into this, a lot of folks were a little upset about the guys saving it. A lot of the time, there's a lot of wiggles. There's a lot of saves.
So many wiggles.
But like what we talked about before this, Cody, that allowed pretty much all of stage 2 to be a 3-wide race the entire time.
Oh, yeah. And that was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I saw a lot of people complaining on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. People were like, oh, well, they're not going as fast. That changes nothing. Just because they slowed the pace down, you bring all these people, you bring everyone together, and it's, man, you just, like, the movement going on in the back of the pack. And I know sometimes a lot of people just don't understand and just don't really get it, if that makes sense. Like, some people, you're just watching the front, you're seeing who's winning, but that's not really what this sport's about. And if you're new to the sport, this is something that you need to understand, is most of the action, obviously you're battling for the lead, you're trying to get all this going, but a lot of your action is happening in the middle of the pack. And was just so fun to watch. But unfortunately, what it does cause is that leads to accidents. And we got a big one here. We got
the big one early this year. And it was one of those things where it was like, that is not something that should be happening, especially up front. I know they were doing some interviews they were listening in on the communications between the spotters and the crew chiefs. And I'll be honest, at that point of the race, I was actually on the phone with my parents. You know,
I'd have been
so
screaming.
oh, dude,
I
I was
was
not
screaming,
happy.
I'll tell
I
you.
was not happy. But I didn't get to hear that, that communications. But I know that they were talking back and forth, and I don't know if that was a spotter issue. I know Allgaier in his interview after he got cleared medically, he said, "I'm going to take full responsibility for all that."
Yep.
So he did that, but I mean that caused a massive wreck, a massive shakeup throughout the rest of the day, and we unfortunately lost one of the best paint schemes of arguably the whole year, just from that.
Dude, man,
But
and this is just, I've had a lot of conversation with both friends and, obviously just talking about it on X and doing all that stuff. This is my just take on this accident. I saw a lot of people going, "Oh, it's classic Denny Hamlin. He's just wrecking people." Denny Hamlin was
fault.
not at fault in this accident. Like,
honestly,
I'm a Bowman fan. I will, throw shade at Denny Hamlin just as much as the next guy. But this accident was not on him. Could you argue that the move was maybe aggressive? I would say you could argue that, but that doesn't make it his fault.
well, going
This
into that
is-
too, you could argue that Blaney getting into his bumper and pushing him.
Yeah.
If you want to blame somebody that's not Allgaier, you got to blame Blaney there.
I would
because
agree. I would agree.
Because if Blaney didn't hit Denny, Justin still would have got through. Now that would have been a very aggressive move, and Denny might have still gotten into his bumper and spun him, but he probably wouldn't have been collected in it. So,
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go back.
No,
go
you're
back
totally
to what
good.
you're saying,
This
Cody.
and that kind of just hammers it home. Like, if you're gonna blame someone that isn't Allgaier, you can't blame Denny. Like, because Denny just went for a hole that was there, and this is my take on this. Allgaier didn't hold his lane. He got pushed out front, and he made a slight move to towards the bottom, opened up that gap for Hamlin, and Hamlin shot it, because if he would have given Allgaier the bump there, where he's on the edge of the corner panel, he's going around anyways. So your options are either to shuffle around to make sure it works, or you make the move and go up to the top where there is room. And I think Denny, obviously it's a split-second decision, but Denny's getting the push from Blaney. Allgaier moves down that slight bit, gives him that gap. He shoots it, gets to the corner panel. Allgaier moves up, and it's just too late. And, throwing around fault is one thing in NASCAR, but it doesn't mean that, oh, this guy's an idiot, this guy doesn't know it. It's a split-second decision happening at 180, 190 miles an hour. Like, this is not an easy job. And I'm not throwing shade at Allgaier. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not whatever you could possibly say. Allgaier's not like, oh, this guy sucks because of this. It's something that happens, and that really is the end of it. It sucks for a lot of guys. Like, this took out Bowman. Larson had heavy damage. The only person at the front of the field that made it out of this accident clean was Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
And that's because he was leading the bottom line. So everything else happened right as he was going by. The 9 gets, not the 9, sorry. I believe Blaney had some damage. Logano had, pretty much everyone had damage.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this was...
Even if it was just like a little tap to your front bumper, I mean, you still had a dent going out of that. That wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for that wreck. I mean, it was the big one. If that was near the end of the race, that would have been the one that would have caused we're going to get 5 overtimes.
Yeah, man, this was, I believe they said 20 total cars were involved in this accident. So,
Lord.
And this is another part about kind of it being a good race. You've got your Wreckfest crowd. I feel like Daytona hasn't had a good big one in a while.
They haven't.
Like
They
a
have
really
not.
good big one, and this was our really good big one. So we'll leave it
I
at
would
that.
say the only one that is the closest to it was the one last year where Priest went into the air
Yeah.
for the second time in 2
That's
races at
always
Daytona.
a big one. That's always huge. Being able to talk about when something like that happens. But in terms of having like a massive wreck, this is one of the, as weird as it is to say, this is the best one we've had. Daytona and Talladega are always known for having the big one. This was like absolutely like picture perfect big one. That's what
Yeah.
that was. Leave it at that. It sucks. A lot of people got taken out. Not a lot of people got taken out, but lots of damage. I believe Allgaier and Bowman were the only ones that
Couldn't
went to the
return.
garage for this.
Yeah.
The 5 had major damage, and SVG in the 97, he also had a lot of damage.
Yeah,
but
he
I
did.
believe they all were able to stay at least running on track.
Yeah.
But yeah, that leads us to stage 3. Bubba Wallace gets the win in stage 2. Like I said, he was the only one to truly escape. So that all gets down. And then stage 3 was absolutely just pure cinema. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
had another stage of complete 3-wide racing. Bubba Wallace and Corey Heim led us to green, and we immediately... we'll word it a little bit better. Almost immediately go 3 wide, and the Toyotas commanded the field this entire time. You had Bubba and Corey leading your 2 lines. Third line gets made, and then Christopher Bell goes to the top. So you have Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Corey Heim leading your 3 lines and just commanding the field. No one else could could even move. Like, you've got people in the back moving around and trying to figure out what line they want to be in, but there wasn't even really a moment where someone got pushed out front. And even when that did happen, you get pushed out front and then you're immediately right back. Like, no one was making moves. And obviously that's a part. It's stage 3. No one wants to be too aggressive too early. But there were just no moves. And you know, for some people that's boring. I loved watching it because it was a pure masterclass in managing the field in terms of Toyota. And we didn't get any big movement until 35 to go, and that's when we started talking about pit stops and where everyone was trying to move around and get into their spots. And another big part of this, the rain stayed away.
Oh, yeah.
And this was, you know, NASCAR, Mother Nature hates NASCAR. She hates it. So getting through this, you know, that's one thing. But rain stayed away. We love that. I remember Larry Mack got on the broadcast and he was like, "Boys, the rain should stay away. We should be good to go." I said, "Hell yeah, Larry. Hell yeah." We love to hear that. But we'll try and get through this. We get to pit stops. You have a group of 4 come down. And then you have a group of 3 come down. And then you have a group of 5 come down. And then you have the Fords. And it wasn't anything that I can remember seeing in recent history. It was just incredible. And then we got to the point where Michael McDowell is the only person who didn't pit. Is just running by himself, and we get a caution. And
Oh, yeah.
this one wasn't anything too weird. I think Corey Heim gave the 11 a shove. Just hit him in the wrong spot, sent him into the 20. 20 gets into the wall, and that unfortunately did knock Bell out of the race. But there's really just not much you can say about this one. Like, it sucks for Bell fans, but you are at the end of the stage. You have already pitted. You are in go mode. You have to go. You have to get to the front of this pack. And just a push gone wrong.
Yep.
If you have anything
Unfortunately.
else to add to it, feel free. But I really feel like that's all you can say for that one.
No, you covered it, and then we'll just go into, we got a really good finish. We got
yeah,
a very
baby.
good
Oh,
finish.
yeah.
We got, I looked it up, Cody. Coming to green, we had McDowell, Hocevar, we had Byron, and I can't remember who the other person up in the top 4 was. It might have been Reddick, honestly.
I think it was,
in the
yeah.
4. We had those guys up there, and it ended up, Carson Hocevar ended up in like 17th after everything that happened.
It was 19th. I do remember that one for sure.
Yeah, Byron, I mean, he got loose after, I believe it was somebody tapped him. And we had that line of, it looked like the positioning that he was in, it looked like Zane Smith was going to win that race.
Honestly, yeah.
looking at recent history, it looked like Zane Smith was going to win that race. And then you see Tyler Reddick just right behind him.
Man,
And then Reddick keeps going and going and going. And then after 2 years of him just being so close yet so far in the Daytona 500, after just a great race to the line, a couple good shoves, Tyler Reddick wins. And they had that big wreck right at the end. You know, Joey was up there too. And you look at it, and, I mean, if he would have gotten collected, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would have won that race on 3 wheels.
That would have been terrifying.
Which would have been sick.
It
That
would have been
amazing.
sick. It would have been awesome. I'm really happy that Tyler Reddick won this race. Pumped for him.
Yeah.
He absolutely deserves it. Michael Jordan to win that race on his birthday, also super cool. But
And after the whole off season with them, it is insane.
And this is the most important thing that I want to throw out about this. You know, obviously the finish itself was incredible. You have Hocevar getting that shot from Eric Jones, sends him loose, gets him loose, puts him in the wall, and he just clears out his teammate. Feel bad for Spire, but, you know, it goes the way it goes sometimes.
It does.
The 24 gets loose. That takes Bubba Wallace out of contention. You're down to like an 8-car pack running these last 2 laps, or for the final lap. Chase Elliott and Zane Smith get lined up, and I thought, like you said, I thought they were going to pull off with it. I thought Zane was going to be able to make a move coming out of 4.
That's who was up there, was Chase Elliott.
But the push from Reddick was
Yep.
just, I don't know where it came from. I don't know how he got that big of a push. He had his teammate with him. He had Riley Herbst, but it wasn't like they were locked up and going together.
No, not at all.
It just, he gets a push, they get separated, and then the 38 and the 9 just start slowing down. Like, it was just like they weren't able to maintain their pace. 45 makes a move, 37 cuts up, hits the 6, takes out the 47, takes out Logano, takes out
22,
everybody. And it was Mike Joy on the call, my Lord and Savior. This man killed it. He made it feel as exciting as it was supposed to feel. And this is a big problem that I have with sports commentators. You need to make the moment feel as exciting as it's supposed to be. And Fox especially has had its issues with that. Not this year. I hope they maintain it. Mike Joy absolutely killed this call. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, I mean, overall, with the broadcasting with the race, it was a 10 out of 10.
This
I mean,
was
I think,
a 10 out of 10 way to start.
I think the lowest. I think the lowest you could give it is an 8.5 if you're a Wreckfest guy. But I think if you are looking at the recent history of the 500, looking at the recent history of Fox, looking at just everything surrounding it, they know they had to kill it. Everything was on par. I think one of the best interviews was Gruden in the Grid Walk.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, yeah, you guys start with the Super Bowl. And they treated this like the Super Bowl for the first time in a long time. Everything was perfect. And I completely... I mean, this is the type of race with all of the hype that motorsports has been getting lately. You know, because F1 is always going to be popular around the whole world. You know, always going to be popular. IndyCar always has their big thing, and this is a big NASCAR thing. But if you had a very casual fan watching this, compared to years past, this is a race where they will say, I want to watch again next week.
And I've already seen multiple people saying that. I've already seen multiple. Just online, you have so many people that are like, this is their first experience of what NASCAR is, and they knocked it out of the park. Really is no better way to say it. 10 out of 10. And we are set up for an incredible season. The chase is back. The Daytona 500 was treated as big as it's supposed to be, and it delivered. And I can only imagine how far we're going to go from here. Now, for us, our version of competition this year, we're going to have a Pick'ems series. So what we're going to do is before every race, we're going to pick our one driver out of the field who we think is going to do the best, who we think is going to have... This doesn't even necessarily be who you think is going to win. This can just be who's going to have a good day. So this week we both picked our drivers. Zach, you took Ryan Blaney. I took Joey Logano. And I don't know if you want to talk about yours or if you have a reason for picking yours. I picked Joey. He's a guy that always manages to be there at the end of these races, and it proved true again today. But those Fords looked dominant in the duels, looked dominant. I was hammering the Fords today, and it ended up working out. Joey Logano ends the race with 36 points and a third-place finish. Ryan Blaney ends the day 27 points. And so this is how we're going to do our points for this Pick'em series. We're going to pick our drivers, and however many points your driver gets is how many points you get. So after 1 week of our Pick'em series, I am up 36 to 27. And this is one where it can get super, super interesting. Because if you pick the wrong person and that person has a bad day, you can get you can get 0 points. Like, that is possible.
Yeah.
And it may not even be their fault. Like this, if I would have taken Alex Bowman, I'm cooked.
Yeah.
Absolutely cooked. So I'm super excited to get this underway, to see how this progresses throughout the season. But after week 1, we got a 9-point deficit, and it's pretty good competition in my book.
It is. It is. I mean, you can't not pick a Ford at a super speedway or a drafting track. You know, I'm sure that both of us will be having Fords next week in Atlanta. You know, might even go with Ryan Blaney again.
Honestly, I know who I'm taking in Atlanta.
I already have who I'm thinking about taking. Who are you going to take?
I am taking Chris Buescher.
It's funny because I am taking his boss and teammate, Brad Keselowski, next week.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, I was so close to taking Chris this week, too. But starting dead last, I was like, man, I'll hold off. I'll take Joey instead. But
if Brad K is going to get that win, man, it's going to be at a super speedway.
Absolutely.
He arguably should have gotten it the year that Byron won in Atlanta when we were there. He arguably, if that race would have gone through, he would have won that race. But I think we'll talk about it more next week, but I think Brad K gets it done next week in Atlanta. Cody, do you have anything else before we end this off?
I do not, man. Like, I've already said it, but I'm going to hammer it home one last time. We are set up for a hell of a NASCAR season. They've made their new slogan, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh,
we are hammering that home all year. I'm super excited to see where this season takes us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, this has been the Bluegrass Burnouts YouTube channel, our first ever video.
Our first ever video.
Yeah, covering the Daytona 500 in the year of our Lord 2026. Thank you for watching.
Sir.
Feel free to subscribe if you do enjoy this type of content, and be on the lookout for our other videos covering paint schemes for Daytona, any NASCAR news, and then our preview for Atlanta coming out later this week. Thanks. You guys have a good rest of your day.